Obviously, I really like my tiny boat, and this was one of the harder videos to make of 5 things that I don't like about it. And I also don't like to complain without solution. So every complaint I have with my tiny boat, which was hard to come up with, I'm going to pair it with a solution either I have solved myself through DIY or something that the manufacturer could put in. But keep in mind, if they do make these adjustments that I mentioned in this video, this will no longer be an under $1,000 boat build with a motor. So with that being said, here is the list I have thought long and hard on of 5 things that I don't really like. I'm not even going to say hate because that's a strong word. Things that I don't prefer about this tiny boat. Now, the first thing on the list is going to be the cup holders. So you have 2, 4, 6, 8 cup holders. And by the way, there's a lot going on here. Literally every single modification I've done to this, down to the fish finder, to the power center, all this stuff. I have a full tour on this channel. And if you just want to go pick something up, like these clamp-on things, some of the stuff we're going to mention, you can click the links in the description. I got a full list in all my videos, just for your convenience. Anyway, these cup holders. So they're about a half an inch thick, maybe about an inch down. I would say about a half inch depth. And they're basically worthless. To put it nicely, they are completely worthless and a wasted opportunity on a simple creature comfort that most fishermen fishing out on long sunny days with no top, they're going to want a place to keep their icy beverage. But it's really only good for a smaller coffee mug, and even then, I wouldn't really trust it. So the solution is a lot of people... I'm buying Air Force Base right now, Tyndall Air Force Base, Panama City. They Dremel a hole out, they punch it out, and then they insert their own cup holder, and then people usually do that on these 4 locations. And that seems like a really good modification and something that I would like to get doing. I don't have the equipment to do it, but that is the solution. We'll wait for that plane to pass by. Anyway, obvious manufacturer solution would simply be just make these sons of bitches a little bit deeper. That's not a very hard ask. Just adjust your mold a little bit and do it in the factory. Or DIY it and make it really bulletproof. So cup holders is definitely worthless considering you have 8 of them. Now let's talk about my second gripe, and it's the interior drain plug location. So the issue with the interior drain plug location is that it's about an inch off the ground. So basically what that means is that your interior drain plug, there's a lot going on. I have a lot, so that's why you can't really access it. Let's see if I can pull it out real quick though. So the interior drain plug location is an inch too high, which means that there's about an inch of water that'll pool. There you go. You can see that. That's almost 2 inches off the ground. Essentially, if you do take on water, which I've never done, but if you do leave it outside and you need to drain it or you hit a big swell and you stuff it, whatever it might be, you're going to have about an inch of water regardless if you pull that plug. So that means for the water to drain down there, you have to lift from the bow on these handles. And keep in mind, these handles don't come with the boat. This is an after modification, aftermarket part, if you will. So you have to lift it well above your head. I'm 6'1". You have to lift it well above your head. And at that point, I found that I never even touched the drain plug. I've never really drained anything. I left it out once. But it's so much easier just to horizontally flip it and let it fall out that way. So it's pretty worthless. The solution would be A, drop it. 2, put it on the bottom because this bottom actually isn't all the way in the water. Yeah, there you go. You can see. So they could drop it down, or I have a trolling motor. I got 3 miles an hour. You could just put that thing here and solve everybody's problem. Because I will say the water management design is very good. So for example, I spill a lot of stuff because these cup holders are worthless. So things will spill, they'll drain down here, they'll funnel into where the chairs are, they'll go around the chairs, and they'll funnel back into here. So you can really get water anywhere here, and including, you get it on here, it's gonna drain down there, and then you guys know what the bottom looks like, it'll drain all the way down. So the water drainage is perfect. So, you know, in the summer, when we take this thing into some bigger waves, and we're hopping in and out from swimming and making those videos, it's going to pool up some water. Now, the water will pool in the back, but at the end of the day, you don't really want it to just sit there, evaporate, then you got a pile of sand and salt and all that stuff. So that is a very, very easy solution. I don't see anybody DIY it because you can just flip that son bitch on its side and it's good to go. All right, next, let's talk about the transom location. So this is a little bit different of a gripe. So when you're sitting in this boat, unlike a traditional john, you basically have to steer completely from the back, which means you have to really be sitting kind of like that and reach your arm over, and it's not the most comfortable position in the world. A lot of the times, I'll do this. My wife is with me about half the time. I'd say actually probably about 75% of the time. And we usually do a setup like this, and I basically just drive backwards. Now, sometimes putting your trolling motor on the bow isn't an option because I just like it in the back, and two, there is this plug. It's designed, it's pre-wired from the battery into the hole right here. It is designed to take a trolling motor into the front, but my wife doesn't want to drive. I know where all the spots are. I've got the depth finder back here and all this stuff, the fish finder. So all the information is coming in from this screen. So I just, like to keep it. I don't want to have to run cables all the way. It's a whole thing. Sometimes it's just not an option. But my solution, there's no DIYing this, at least to my skill level. But if you just extend this square off the back, sure, it'll look ugly, but if you have a reinforced wood and metal transom, just like there is in this little strip, along the whole way, you can actually place it over here. Yeah, you might have to adjust a little bit for where it's located, but lefties and righties can look straight forward, still have the proper motor on the transom, and mount it right here, and you can just simply steer it like that. You can extend it. And that would be so much better. Sure, it would not look as good, but you could put the cleats literally on the outside out here. I've seen other ones do that. And you could still have your handles. You can still have all the functionality, except just make it way more customizable, make it way easier for clamp-on accessories like my light, which I don't actually have the light on right now. Make it easier to mount these clamp-on rods, all that fun stuff. So that was another little gripe I had, was the transom location. Unfortunately, the only solution is going to have to be from the manufacturer. Now, let's go into number 4, no rear rod holders. So from the factory, they come with 2 rod holders on the bow, which are phenomenal. They're perfectly placed. I'm a big fan of those. But on the stern, it's a 2-man fishing vessel, and it's not exactly, you're not walking past each other a whole lot. So I had to buy some clamp-on rod holders, which I really like. They're fully adjustable, 360 degrees. You can adjust the tilt on them, and you can clamp them on multiple locations. So this is a really good solution. Now, I am actually going to recommend something that a lot of you are hesitant about doing, and I actually recommend drilling some rod holders into your boat permanently, just like I drilled this, and this thing is secure. I drive down the highway with it. There are correct ways to do it. In fact, I actually made a video on how I did it, and it still holds up perfectly driving 70 miles an hour down the highway, hitting bumps on my little trailer. So it's definitely doable, and I definitely recommend it. The only reason I haven't is because these clamp-ons are in a really good location for me personally where I film. And it's all about what you do. Now, I would love to make those permanent, but I want to experiment with them in different locations because you really only want to drill once. And I'm already kind of regretting this location. Not quite yet, but I feel like I'm going to need another one up here, which you can do some data sharing and you can make it work. But come on, it's a fishing boat. Someone's going to be fishing off the stern who's driving. Come on, give him some rod holders from the factory. Those are like $40 on Amazon. Not a big deal for a 2-pack, but All right, my 5th and final gripe is no dry storage. So the West Marine water tender, my last tiny boat that I sold for this one, had integrated dry storage. It was kind of not so good. I made a video on it, but anyway, a lot of people do a lot of different things with this. Unfortunately, I took the car today, not my truck. No, I don't have it in there. I actually, from an old $25 Walmart cooler, I used the leftovers and made my own dry storage. You might see it in passing, but I made my own little cooler dry storage situation. But a lot of people, they actually put their own dry storage in, and they put their own live wells in. Now, obviously, if you build out casting decks, you can have unlimited dry storage or whatever you want, live wells. It's definitely doable. But from the factory, here's a few options I had in my head. So This is not, I mean, it's got some foam in it, it's got some wood in it, it's got some reinforcements. As you saw, I put, and last week, or on Monday's video, I put all my weight in the water on this, and it still didn't tip. This ability video. So it's all reinforced. So I have a couple ideas, and the reason I have a couple is because I'm not sure what would work and what wouldn't. This one seems pretty far-fetched, but it would be pretty nice. If this was just all cut out, it had one of those twist and pull latches, and you had a little bit of storage there. Another opportunity would be right here, and I've seen people Dremel out and insert their own box and their own latch, and they have their own storage. Or you can just do small lure storage or food storage or whatever, little drop downs here. You've got these little things that I don't really know exactly what they're for. They're only on one side, but you know, drop that down. You've got a couple options here to make some integrated dry storage. That's my factory solution, and of course my actual solution was the dry thing. So I also did do this. So on the backs of these seats, I just picked these up from Amazon. They were dirt cheap, and they like fold over. They're Velcro, and then they're like double Ziploc baggies. They fold over, they stay on the chair. So these are like waterproof, perfect for phones, keys, wallets, paper documents, title registration, stuff like that. I don't keep any of it on there because it's not registered, because who cares? But anyway, that is another really cheap solution. So there are plenty of DIY options. This is one of the easiest solutions to have. You know, you could bring a backpack. It's not necessarily dry storage, but that was just my final gripe. Now, this is really it, folks. That's really all of the gripes I have. Now, with that being said, do I want all of these changes made? No. And I'll tell you why. Because I think there's so much power in having a boat platform where you can buy one of these brand new off the lot for $800. You could go to Walmart, you could buy a Minn Kota trolling motor, not what I have because I'm basically only exclusively put these in the ocean, so I needed salt water. But $100 you could get a Minn Kota 36 pounder with a 55 amp hour lead acid for a couple $100. So that puts you in at $1,000 and you are on the water boating. So if you make all these modifications, we're probably looking at a $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 boat. You know, all these extra costs of manufacturing passed down to the consumer on the shelves. And I like it the way it is because these things are so customizable, as you can clearly see. So I'd rather have it cheap, make it my own, versus them give all the features and we no longer have an under $1,000 boat option, because those are disappearing fast. Anyway, if you want to see a lot of footage of me actually using and fishing and testing this, it's on this channel. But I do recommend, if you are interested in one of these and you don't have one yet, to watch my full tour so you get some ideas of some cool modifications, things that you can do to make your life easier on the water, easier, safer, and all sorts of fun stuff. And also the stability test is a great resource to help you decide if this is for you or not. Anyway, those are my 5 gripes with my favorite little tiny boat. Are they really gripes? Like I said, I'd rather go without them and keep the price low. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, let me know in the comments below. I'm curious what your gripes are, because I've only had this a few months. So I'm very curious what your guys' gripes are. I know the older models sometimes don't have drain plugs on the pontoons. Yeah, that's a major oversight. And there's some different stuff, but let me know what you think. Anyway, guys, hit that like and subscribe button. Stay tuned for more tiny boat content, and I'll see you next time.